Hello everyone and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Bold and the Beautiful, BNB, recap for Friday, December 12th shows that Eric Forrester, John McCook, turned down Ridge Forrester's, Torsten K., proposal, while Bill Spencer, Don Diamont, wants to marry Katie Logan, Heather Tom, tonight. At the wedding reception, Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, raised a toast to Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, and Hope Logan Spencer, Annika Noel, before the children expressed their joy for the newlyweds. Beth Spencer, Jordan Gracie, Kelly Spencer, Sophia Parras, and Douglas Forrester, Henry Samory, all supported Hope and Liam as the celebration progressed. Deke Sharp, Harrison Cohn, Katie and Donna Logan Forrester, Jennifer Garice, each spoke briefly before Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, spoke next. Deacon felt grateful that Deke and Hope only saw the best of him. Bill was grateful to his son, Liam, for inspiring the recent changes in him and leading to his reconciliation with Katie. Brooke Logan Forrester, Catherine Kelly Lang, also had some loving words for Hope on her special day. After Liam and Hope gave their own remarks, they cut the cake and shared a slice. Later, Bill moved Katie to the side for a peaceful moment alone. Katie was astonished when Bill dropped down on one knee and proposed to her tonight. On Friday's BNB episode, Steffi Forrester Finnegan, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, and Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, discussed the most recent father-son Forrester turmoil. Despite Eric and Ridge's previous fight, Steffi was hoping for them to resolve it. Ridge apologized at Forrester Creations for making Eric feel obligated to leave and encouraged his father to stay, if that was his preference. Ridge said they could finish together, but Eric declined. Eric decided to give retirement a shot, but he couldn't guarantee it would stick. Regardless, Eric recognized Forrester's legacy as Ridge's legacy as well. Finally, Eric showed confidence in Ridge and Steffi's ability to operate the company. According to The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Eric may be preparing for a huge career move if he ends up at Katie's new fashion firm, so keep tuned for any unexpected news for the Forrester clan. At Bill's house, he is proposing on bended knee. Katie laughs, "You're crazy." Bill displays a large engagement ring and wedding rings. Katie is shocked. Bill begs Katie to pledge she will become his wife. Tonight, she accepts and they kiss. Before Donna, Brooke, Will, and Electra leave, they reveal that they are being married and request witnesses. Will rushes over to hug his parents, and the Logan sisters squeal. Steffi and Finn's love in when Finn arrives at Steffi's house. He is dressed in only a towel after spending time in the hot tub. They verify that the kids have once again vanished overnight and begin making out. Steffi and Finn sit in a stance that is curiously reminiscent of Taylor and Ridge's heart-healing session, discussing Hope and Liam's wedding and wondering if Kelly will officiate if they decide to renew their vows. Finn inquires as to what her father has said concerning the wedding ceremony. She responds, "Oh, he didn't go." She hopes that he and her grandfather are working things out. Finn and Steffi discuss their happiness with one another and the importance of cherishing and maintaining their relationship. Making out resumes. At Forrester, Ridge and Eric celebrate with glasses of whiskey. They laugh about getting out of going to Bill's wedding, agreeing that Spencer is a real piece of work, and laughing at his clothing. Going over their history, they mention how they have always beaten their rivals, such as Spectra. Eric speculates that it will now only be Ridge standing up there at the end of the show. They share more recollections and talk about Stephanie being a force. Eric is amazed that they developed an empire together. He believes she is enjoying a martini above them on Ridge. "It's all yours now. This is entirely yours." With that, Eric handed over, gasp, the stapler. It represents power for him. Ridge accepts it as Eric says, "I'm done." Ridge tells his father with reverence that all he ever wanted was to be worthy of his respect and affection. The door will always remain open. Eric warns that there is no certainty he won't return. Ridge chuckles. He becomes serious again and proclaims his love. Eric adores him as well. Will teases his father for being nervous when Bill and Katie tie the knot at his home. Electra thinks it's nice. She proceeds to check on Katie. Soon, the Logan sisters enter the room, followed by Katie, who holds a bunch of flowers. She moves along the living room to the fireplace while the wedding march plays. Donna repairs her train. Will quips that it's past Beth's bedtime, and they'll simply wing it. He gives a speech about how his father is a much better human being now that he has his mother. He discusses their profound bond. I miss my family. I love you. He embraces each of them before kissing Electra. Brooke and Donna give brief statements, congratulating the couple. Katie cries. Turning to Bill, she asks, "What now?" He admits to being scared before suggesting that they make vows based on what is in their hearts. Bill discusses how far they've come and how something changed when he first saw her. She motivated him to be better. Katie is his safe harbor, and he wishes to be with her if she will trust him with her heart. He tears up and promises to treasure it until the day he dies. Katie recalls having a fragile heart, which he strengthened. He made her believe she could do everything she desired in this world. She admires their efforts to reunite their family. Life is short. She can't offer him her heart because she already given it to him long ago. Will brings out the rings to Katie and Bill, who exchange them amid more tears. Bill pronounces them husband and wife, and Will proclaims that he can kiss Mom. They kiss while their family applauds. The magnificent corridors of Forrester Creations were dense with tension, like the aroma of costly cloth and lingering perfume. Ridge Forrester stood in front of his father, Eric Forrester, the patriarch whose name adorned the building and whose legacy had influenced the fashion company for decades. Ridge's eyes were full of guilt and determination. He had planned Eric's retirement party without asking him, believing it was time to transmit the torch. But now, seeing the pain in his father's eyes, Ridge was backpedaling, proposing a partnership in which Eric could remain involved, designing with him as co-CEO or in whatever capacity Eric preferred. "Dad, I never meant to push you out," Ridge remarked, his voice full of genuineness. "Forrester Creations is nothing without you. Come back. Let's do this together. Your designs, your vision, they're the heart of this company." Eric sat in his chair, the weight of years and recent health scares obvious in his posture. He had put his passion into his final collection, demonstrating that he still had the fire. Ridge's actions, however, had severely damaged his pride. He had been forced to retire, and now this olive branch felt like sympathy. Eric shook his head slowly as he stared at his son, the guy he had reared and groomed for leadership. "No, Ridge," Eric said firmly, yet his tone was one of resolution rather than anger. "I've given this company everything. My blood, my sweat, my dreams. And you decided it was time for me to step aside without even asking. I won, Ridge. My collection triumphed. But now, I think it's time I truly try retirement. I'm proud of you and Steffi. You're running things well. This is your era now." Ridge's brows buckled. He had expected opposition, possibly a fight, but not such placid acceptance. "Dad, please. If you want to design, if you need to be here, let's make it happen. Partners like always." Eric smiled weakly, a hint of sadness in his eyes. "Maybe it's not permanent. But for now, no. I have faith in you. Run it with Brooke. Make me proud." They raised a toast, reminiscing about previous victories over rivals, but Ridge couldn't shake his anxiety. Eric's remarks felt definitive, a symbolic passing of the torch that Ridge hadn't really wanted to accept yet. Meanwhile, across town at Bill Spencer's enormous house, the mood was charged with joy and surprise. The celebration of Hope Logan and Liam Spencer's renewed nuptials was in full swing. Laughter reverberated throughout the rooms as relatives and friends celebrated the couple who had overcome so much to reunite. Hope, resplendent in wedding gown, beams as Liam holds her close, their children Beth, Kelly, and Douglas looking with wide-eyed delight. Will Spencer, Bill's son, lifted a glass and teased his brother for finally doing it right. Donna and Brooke Logan enthused about Hope, calling her the greatest of the Logan women. Even Electra Forrester was present, adding to the celebratory atmosphere. But in a quiet corner, Bill Spencer drew Katie Logan away, his eyes filled with emotion. Katie had been glowing, surrounded by her sisters, and observing the love in the atmosphere. Bill, ever the daring mogul, had been inspired by his son's romantic achievements. Liam remarried Hope, and Will thrived. The Spencer men were winning at love. And Bill wanted to do it again with Katie, the woman who had always pushed him to be better. As the event concluded, Bill brought Katie to a more secluded location. The crowd fell silent as he sank to one knee, revealing a magnificent diamond engagement ring and a pair of wedding bands. Katie's hand shot to her mouth, astonished. "Katie Logan," Bill said, his voice steady but full of passion, "you've been the one constant in my life, the one who makes me want to be a better man. Seeing all this love today, it reminded me of what we have, what we've always had. Marry me, tonight, right here, with our family." Katie laughed through tears, calling him crazy, but her eyes sparkled with yes. "Bill, yes. Oh my God, yes." The other guests, Donna, Brooke, Will, Electra, and a few more, burst in cheers. There was no officiant, no great plan, and they didn't need one. Bill and Katie decided to wing it, exchanging heartfelt vows. Bill went first, remembering the first time he saw her and how she altered him forever. "You've seen me at my worst and loved me anyway. We've come so far, Katie. I promise to cherish you, to fight for us every day." Katie, tears flowing down her cheeks, spoke of his development, how he'd grown into the man she always knew he could be. "You've given me so much, Bill. Our son, our family. I love you more than words." Will handed out the rings, taunting his father about his nervousness. They exchanged bands to acclaim, and Bill kissed his bride tenderly at Will's playful prompting, confirming their unexpected remarriage. The next day, as word spread, Brooke confronted Ridge at Forrester Creations. "You won't believe what happened after the reception," she exclaimed, her eyes wide. "Not just Hope and Liam. Bill proposed to Katie on the spot, and they got married right there." Ridge's jaw tightened. Bill Spencer, his constant competitor, has remarried Katie Logan, Brooke's sister. It rekindled ancient resentments and anxieties about split loyalties. However, the surprises were not over. Later, in a quiet time, Bill again called Katie aside. "I have a wedding gift for you," he added, grinning. "Something big." Katie tilted her head, intrigued. "You're getting your own fashion house," Bill declared. "A rival to Forrester Creations. You'll be CEO, run it your way. No more feeling sidelined." Katie's eyes widened in surprise and joy. She kissed him warmly, imagining a new dominion under the Spencer banner. Whispers began. Would unhappy designers such as Eric join? Could this take talent from Forrester? Back at the Forrester estate, Eric considered his future. Retirement felt odd and empty. When Katie contacted, hinting at potential at the new house, Eric became interested. A new beginning, free from the anguish of Ridge's betrayal? Steffi and Finn talked about the family problems while relaxing on the cliff. Steffi hoped that her father and grandfather would reconcile completely. Finn clutched her tight, thankful for their constancy in the midst of chaos. Thomas Forrester unexpectedly arrived and pitched his comeback to Ridge and Steffi. "This is where I belong," he said, pointing at the Forrester emblem. But tensions grew when Deke raised concerns about his future with the organization. Would Steffi prioritize Thomas over others? Sheila Carter, who was barred from attending gatherings, became obsessed with jealousy, which worried Deacon and Taylor. As the days passed, Brooke revealed additional facts of the double wedding to Ridge, leaving him startled. Katie gave Bill something unique in exchange, possibly a vow of loyalty to their new venture. The Los Angeles fashion scene readied for turmoil. Forrester Creations versus the new Spencer fashion house. Rivalries strained family relationships. Eric, pondering on his legacy, took Katie's suggestions seriously. "Maybe it's time for a change," he said softly to Donna. Ridge became apprehensive as he sensed alterations. His proposition was rejected, and his father placed his trust in him. But at what cost? Bill and Katie, newlyweds again, reveled in their success. Love has been renewed, and the empire is expanding. Hope and Liam enjoyed wedded life, oblivious of the impending storms. In this realm of glamour and deception, alliances changed like runway trends. Eric's rejection of Ridge's presentation was a watershed moment, paving the way for unanticipated opportunities. Bill's impetuous proposal and huge gift sparked a new rivalry. The bold and the beautiful continued, with hearts entwined in passion, power, and fashion. The afternoon light fell softly on the Forrester offices, illuminating the familiar spaces with a warmth that felt almost ceremonial. Eric Forrester stood alone for a time, his hands resting on the back of a chair that had seen decades of designs sketched, dreams debated, and legacies forged. His breathing remained steady, but his thoughts were everything but. He had reached a stage in his life where words were insufficient, and deeds were required to convey meaning that conversations could no longer. What he was about to perform was not as magnificent as fashion presentations, nor was it noisy or geared for applause. It was symbolic, emotional, and deeply based in his confused feelings for his son. Ridge came later than expected, his stride deliberate but distracted, his mind preoccupied with the typical problems of work, family, and romance. He detected a difference as soon as he entered the room. Eric remained cool in a way that indicated resolve rather than resignation. They exchanged a few pleasantries that had become second nature over the years before the quiet fell between them. It was a stillness laden with history, years of antagonism softened by respect, battles of vision mitigated by common pride in the Forrester name. Eric broke the silence by gesturing to the design table. It was covered in sketches, some old and some fresh, interlaced in such a way that they presented a story about evolution rather than replacement. He added that he had spent the night reviewing his early drawings and compared them to Ridge's more recent interpretations. What struck him was not how different they were, but how well they could cohabit. Eric spoke of legacy with a calm voice, as something to be entrusted rather than carefully preserved. The gesture was straightforward. Eric openly acknowledged Ridge as his equal, not just in title or responsibilities, but in creative spirit. He placed one of his own original sketches above Ridge's most recent work and wrote his name beneath Ridge's, symbolically linking their views. It was a quiet deed, but the significance was profound. Ridge thought it was a long-awaited recognition, one that soothed old wounds he hadn't realized were still open. Ridge's face sparked with emotion, which was immediately hidden by his normal coolness. He thanked his father, his voice steady yet genuine. The event did not erase their previous differences or promise a conflict-free future, but it did redefine the ground on which they stood together. Eric, for his part, appeared lighter, as if he had let go of a load he had been carrying for longer than he realized. In Los Angeles, a totally different tableau was forming, one saturated with genuine emotion rather than silent symbolism. Bill Spencer stood in front of a mirror, fixing his tie with hands that trembled slightly to reveal his anxiousness. The setting around him was magnificent but restrained, designed to concentrate the attention on the occasion rather than the spectacle. It was not about power, wealth, or image. This was about reclaiming love after loss, after making mistakes that almost lost him everything. Katie Logan sat nearby, her eyes sparkling as she observed Bill prepare. Their return to this point had been anything but straightforward. Betrayals, heartache, and extended periods of distance had all put a strain on their remaining link. There were times when reconciliation seemed unattainable, when the anguish overshadowed the memories of happiness. Yet here they were, stood on the verge of a new beginning that felt both familiar and precarious. As the guests assembled, the environment became quieter. Those who knew the couple well felt a mixture of disbelief and cautious optimism. Bill took his position, replacing his typical arrogance with something softer and more vulnerable. When Katie walked in, the room appeared to hold its breath. She was radiant, but it was the emotion in her face that drew everyone's attention. This was not a lady swept away by imagination. She was choosing love with full knowledge of the hazards. The ceremony was private, and the words said were simple and meaningful. Bill attempted to remain calm as he uttered his vows. His voice cracked as he realized his past sins, the anguish he had caused, and the thankfulness he felt for a second chance he knew he did not deserve, but would treasure anyhow. Tears welled up in his eyes, uncontrollably and unapologetic, as he swore to be present, honest, and worthy of Katie's trust. Katie listened as tears streamed down her face. When it was her turn to speak, she astonished herself with the consistency of her voice. She described forgiveness as choosing to move forward despite the scars, rather than forgetting them. She revealed her worries, lingering uncertainties, and ambition to create something greater than what had come before. Her statements were not idealistic. Rather, they were founded in truth, which added to their impact. A palpable sense of relief filled the room as they exchanged rings. Applause followed, although it was restrained, reflecting the severity of what had just occurred. This was not a fairy tale ending, but rather a purposeful commitment formed through adversity. Bill wiped his eyes, chuckling quietly at himself, and Katie smiled through her tears, their eyes communicating volumes about shared history and renewed optimism. Back at Forrester Creations, the ripple effects of Eric's gesture began to spread. News spread rapidly, and reactions differed. Some saw it as a natural progression, while others viewed it as a bold statement about the company's future. Rich had a fresh sense of purpose. He returned to work with a new vigor, no longer feeling compelled to prove himself at every turn. His father's acknowledgement provided him with a base that allowed his creativity to blossom without fear of comparison. Eric, meantime, focused on the similarities between his own situation and what Bill and Katie were experiencing. Both were gestures of trust, founded on acceptance rather than control. Life had taught him that holding too firmly to the past could smother the future. Letting go, whether of power or wrath, demonstrated wisdom rather than weakness. As twilight fell, the newlyweds had a peaceful moment apart from their guests. Bill admitted that he was on the verge of giving up because he was afraid of repeating old habits. Katie comforted him that worry was normal and that what important was their determination to confront it together. They spoke about tiny, significant objectives rather than great plans, such as honesty, patience, and the bravery to speak up when things felt wrong.